I have been looking for the world's best webcam. Is this it? What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I just picked up this. It's by AVerMedia. It's actually not the first webcam that I've ever had by AVerMedia. I've had a webcam from them before, and it was pretty good. It was actually a pretty good value, but I found this little bad boy, and what you can see here is this little guy is the Cam 513, which is kind of supposed to be the miracle webcam that everyone has been waiting for. And here it is. And the reason I picked this up is because I have been looking for a really good webcam, something that would give me really good video quality, something that would be great for Zoom calls or recording videos, something that didn't look like a webcam. To me, footage from webcams tend to look like something from a BlackBerry. They're really frustrating because over the years, they don't seem to have improved at all. And it's really frustrating because they've gotten really expensive. And what you can do is get something like a DSLR or a GoPro and use that as a webcam. And you have to kind of Frankenstein things together. I know it's not the worst case scenario ever, but I just want to plug and play stuff. I think like a lot of people. And so I have been looking at webcams at any price that would give me a really good video experience. Now, I will say that despite my hope on this one, I know that it won't do some stuff. It doesn't have the right focal length, I think, to give you that fuzzy background, that bokeh effect that everyone's looking for. But I think this one is supposed to give you a pretty good color representation, pretty good resolution, pretty much everything that you would expect from a webcam, but you're probably not getting it. Now, I have been using the Logitech C920 for years, and I have tried to replace it with things that are supposed to be better, and my hope is that this one is going to fit the bill. I will tell you, first of all, on the bottom here, we get a kind of a standard webcam setup. There's little rubber pads in here so that you can put it on the back of your monitor, so it can sit up on the top. What you can see here is we also have a 1/4 inch screw hole so you can put it on a tripod. There's a little rubber backing right there. You can see this little rounded part here is how they've simplified this so that when it sits up against the back of your computer monitor, it doesn't really matter which way this is angled. Some have a little like angled foot there. And then it says AVerMedia right there. And what you can see here is it's actually kind of like on this little gimbal. So that's actually pretty innovative because now when it's up here looking down at me, I can make sure that it is even, level, you know, kind of angle it up or down or left and right, which is pretty nice. Sometimes these are fixed to the mount right here, and so to move them you have to move the entire monitor. So this is kind of nice that it can adjust a little bit like this. Now this little bar right here, what you can see, is actually the lens cover. So I love the fact that that's integrated. That should absolutely be a standard piece of any web camera. And what you can do here is just flip it down. Now it covers up that camera, but you can see that microphone hole there is still open and unblocked, so that if you're speaking into it, even though the camera might not be filming you, you can still use this to participate in calls, speak into this, and that's good because a lot of people will rely on their webcam for video and audio. You know, some people like me will use a different microphone, something that's maybe a little higher quality, but you can't expect everyone to do that. So it's really nice that the lens cover here does not screw with that microphone hole right there. So you can see the lens right there. I don't think this is 4K. AVerMedia has kind of experimented with that, and in fact they had like a webcam prototype that I was pretty excited about. I thought it might come out, but they didn't seem to release it to the public, so this is probably as good as it's going to get. Now if I flip it around to the back, you can see we have a USB-C plug right there, so that should allow it to pass through a pretty good amount of data, so you can run pretty high resolution to your computer. And if I open up the box here, what we get below the foam, it's kind of like Treasure Island, is a cable here. It's USB-A to USB-C. So the nice thing about this is that this is going to go into the camera, and then this should be pretty universally accepted on pretty much any computer, laptop, desktop, those types of things. Now I do have the instruction booklet here, and that's pretty much all that comes with this little bad boy. Now I do think you could probably take this and plug it in and plug and play it right away, use it out of the box, and I am going to try that. But AVerMedia also has a little like AVerMedia image adjusting software. And so what I will do is download that too and maybe just play with the settings a little bit to see if I can really dial them in. I don't usually do that, but what's nice about their software is that apparently it will flash the camera here and it will persist even when you power off the camera and your computer and power back on. So if you do kind of find the right settings for your environment, hopefully they should stick. And so I am going to try that too and see if I can improve it. But we're going to start with the stock settings. So let's go try it out and see how it goes. All right, here. First things first, I'm actually going to compare this right out of the gate to the AVerMedia webcam that I bought. It's this one right up here. This is an older AVerMedia camera, and it's actually a really good value camera. And the reason I'm going to compare this new AVerMedia to this older AVerMedia is because they kind of sit on opposite ends of the spectrum. This is not using the AVerMedia microphone, just FYI, it's using my HyperX microphone. So only judge the video quality here. But what I like about this AVerMedia is that it seems to be pretty sharp, although it tends to oversaturate the colors just a little bit and kind of give me a little bit of a red look. However, I will say that the camera here, which I reviewed earlier, is a pretty good camera, and I bought it for only like 40 bucks. So I've been pretty happy with it. Now, the question is, does this camera, which is $200 more than this camera, will this kind of be a studio quality camera? Will this give me the image that so many people have when they're shooting really nice, high production quality videos at their computer? So let's go ahead and plug it in and try it out with stock settings. All right, so I've got the new 513 AVerMedia camera plugged in, and you should see some differences right away because despite how dumb I am, I see some differences right away. First of all, while it gives me a little bit of a soft look here, it does look pretty good. The second thing I'm going to say is it gives a really wide field of view. In fact, I'm going to start having to hide stuff if I use this because, man, you can see a lot, and it's not fisheye lens. It's just a wider field of view, and I think it reports something like 94 degrees or something like that. So it definitely gives you a larger canvas to work with if you are filming. Now, I will also say here that the colors right out of the box look pretty good. I feel like that's a pretty good representation of me. It doesn't kind of skew red like the other camera does, I think. Now, what I will do here is I'm going to just download the software for this and maybe just tweak the settings and see if I can get them even a little better. Okay, so I downloaded what they call the AVerMedia CamEngine Lite software, and I also did a firmware upgrade on the camera. So I think I am as up to date as I can be. Now, I will say I kind of tweaked the settings. They give you some sliders to adjust things like brightness and hue, and I found myself just kind of moving them back to the middle in most cases. I don't think I really did much. And I will say, though, I think I just kind of tuned the sharpness up a notch. So instead of just being on the default 0, I kind of moved it up to a 1 or a 2 or something like that. But this is actually pretty impressive. I mean, in fact, the field of view here gives you a lot of options because you can kind of crop it down if you need to and just frame whatever you need, but it gives me the ability to have like a whiteboard or something like that too, in a way that the old web camera did not, whether it was my Logitech or my AVerMedia. I just think this looks more natural. I do have a little LED light illuminating me from the front here, but I haven't done anything to try to dim the lights behind me or go for any of those effects, little colored lights or something, you know, lighting up the background, but I'm just really impressed with this. Now, I will say this camera is like a $250 camera, and what I've always wanted is something that gives you that real studio look that can just go right on a computer, that I don't have to set up boom arms or other crazy things or figure out what a clean HDMI out is and, you know, get those settings all correct. You know, I see people that record videos at their computer and they look amazing, and I'm sure there are hundreds, if not thousands of dollars behind that. But I just want to get to work. You know, none of this BS. I ain't a tech guy. I just want to get a product that's going to give me what I want, that's going to be affordable, that's going to be easy to install, and I think that's what most people want. And I will tell you, so far, I am impressed with this AVerMedia camera. At $250, it's also less than doing a whole Frankenstein rig yourself, but at $250, it's also kind of pricey. But if you're going to do a lot of video, if you're going to do a lot of webinars or webcasts or Zoom calls or teleconferencing or whatever it might be, then I think it's worth it. Hey, if you want to pick it up, I'll put a link to it in the description. Peter Von Panda, out.